Black girl tells Steph Curry, "I haven't eaten in 3 days." What he did next left everyone in shock. When little Destiny fainted in front of her idol, no one imagined the devastating truth behind her weakness. Her innocent confession of just 7 words triggered a chain reaction that would transform not only her life, but hundreds of others. A true story that the spotlight never captured. The sun had barely risen when Destiny Johnson's tired eyes opened. At 9 years old, she already carried, on her small shoulders, responsibilities that many adults would never know. The one-bedroom apartment in East Oakland seemed even colder on that autumn morning, the heating cut off 2 weeks ago due to unpaid bills. "Mom, it's time for your medicine," whispered Destiny, entering the dark room where Kiara Johnson, her mother, was resting. A year ago, Kiara was the woman who danced around the house, singing Motown songs while making Sunday pancakes. Now, multiple sclerosis kept her a prisoner of her own body, limiting her movements to painful and slow gestures. "Good morning, my angel," Kiara replied with a weak smile. Her eyes, still luminous like stars, contrasted with the rest of her body that betrayed her day after day. "You don't have to do this. You should be sleeping." "I like taking care of you," responded Destiny, carefully reaching for the water glass and pills from the bedside table. She didn't mention that she had woken up 3 times during the night, hearing the silent moans of pain that her mother tried to hide. The apartment told silent stories of better times. Framed photographs showed a complete family: Kiara, Destiny, and Marcus, the father who left when the first symptoms of the disease appeared. "I can't deal with this," were his last words. Destiny still kept a photo of him inside her school notebook, hoping that one day he would return, although her mother never spoke about it. In the small kitchen, Destiny reached for the last packets of instant oatmeal in the nearly empty cabinet. She prepared a portion for her mother, decorating it with some raisins she had saved from her school lunch the day before. For herself, just half a cup of water with a little syrup found at the bottom of a bottle. "Aren't you going to eat, sweetheart?" asked Kiara, watching her daughter arrange her worn school backpack. "I already ate, Mom. I'm fine," lied Destiny with a practiced smile, ignoring the rumbles of her own stomach. It was the 3rd consecutive day that she had given up her own meal. The disability check would only arrive next week, and the remaining $27 needed to be saved for medications that insurance didn't cover. The path to Eastside Elementary School was long, but Destiny didn't mind. She loved watching the world wake up. Shopkeepers lifting iron doors, buses swallowing and spitting out hurried people, the smell of coffee escaping from diners. For a few moments, she could pretend she was just a normal girl, without adult worries. At school, Destiny sat at the back of the room as she always did, not out of shyness, but because from there she could observe the large Golden State Warriors poster on the side wall. In the center of the image, Steph Curry smiled with the ball in his hands, as if promising that everything would be all right. Basketball was the only luxury Destiny allowed herself. She watched games on the old television that a neighbor had donated, scribbled plays in her notebook during breaks, and sometimes stayed after school to shoot some balls at the crooked hoop in the schoolyard. "Class, I have a special announcement," said Mrs. Martinez, the teacher, interrupting her thoughts. "Today we'll have a very special surprise visit as part of the Athletes in Education program. Please behave in the best possible way." The buzz spread through the room like wildfire. Destiny barely paid attention, busy calculating how many days her mother's medications would last, when the IUR classroom door opened 2 hours later. The silence was instantaneous, followed by a chorus of suspended breaths. Steph Curry, in the flesh, entered the room with his characteristic smile. Destiny blinked several times, convinced that hunger was causing hallucinations. "Hey, kids! How are you all doing today?" The voice was exactly like on television, but it was there, resonating through the walls of the worn-out classroom. The children exploded with enthusiasm. Destiny remained frozen, unable to process that her hero was just a few meters away. Curry talked about perseverance, about how he was short by basketball standards, and how many doubted him. Each word seemed directed straight at her, like a coded message from the universe. After the talk, a line formed for autographs and photos. Destiny hesitated, but Mrs. Martinez gently pushed her forward. "Go on, dear. I know how much you admire him." The line moved slowly. When it was finally her turn, Destiny felt the world spinning around her. Colors mixed, voices became distant, and before she could say anything, her legs weakened. The world went dark for a few seconds. When her eyes opened again, she was in Steph Curry's arms, who held her with genuine concern. "Are you okay, little one?" he asked, his voice now tense. Destiny looked around, seeing all faces turn to her. Shame colored her cheeks, but something stronger than embarrassment took over her. A courage born of desperation. "I haven't eaten in 3 days," she said, her voice almost a whisper. "I saved my food for my sick mother." Involuntary tears ran down her small face, and she quickly wiped them with the frayed sleeve of her uniform. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bother you." Curry's face transformed before her eyes. His smile disappeared, replaced by something deep and intense. For a brief moment, he was no longer the basketball superstar, but just a human being connecting with another at the most fundamental level. "What's your name?" he asked, his voice now soft as a breeze. "Destiny Johnson," she answered, feeling dizzy again. Curry exchanged glances with the teacher, who nodded silently, confirming that she knew the situation. "I think we need to talk, Destiny," he said, helping her sit in a chair while signaling to one of the assistants. "And maybe we need to get you something to eat first." At that moment, as an apple and a sandwich were placed in her hands, Destiny didn't know that those simple words, "I haven't eaten in 3 days," were about to change not just her life, but the lives of many other children like her. Steph Curry had faced the best defenders in the NBA, had felt the pressure of decisive shots in championship finals, but nothing prepared him for the weight of a 9-year-old girl's words. The journey in the ambulance to Oakland Medical Center was silent, with Curry sitting next to the stretcher where Destiny was lying, a nurse monitoring her vital signs. "You don't have to come with me," murmured Destiny, embarrassed by the attention. "I know you're busy." Curry looked at his cell phone, where messages from his agent, alerting him about commercial commitments, were flashing incessantly. With a decisive movement, he silenced the device. "Right now, there's no more important place for me to be," he replied, holding Destiny's small hand. The image of his own well-fed, protected, and loved children at home contrasted painfully with Destiny's reality. Raised in a family where Christian values and compassion were fundamental pillars, Steph felt something awaken inside him, a responsibility that went beyond the courts. At the hospital, Destiny's mild dehydration and malnutrition were quickly diagnosed. The doctor pulled Curry aside, out of earshot of the girl. "It's not the first time she's come here in these conditions," he commented quietly. "The situation at home is complicated. The mother has multiple sclerosis, advanced stage. Insurance barely covers the basics." While Destiny received intravenous fluids, Curry made the most difficult call. "Mrs. Johnson, this is Steph Curry from the Golden State Warriors. "No, it's not a prank. I'm with your daughter at Oakland Medical Center." Even with her condition, Kiara Johnson arrived at the hospital in record time, brought by an elderly neighbor. Her fragile body moved with difficulty in the improvised wheelchair, an office chair with casters, tied with ropes to offer some support. "My baby!" she exclaimed upon seeing Destiny in the hospital bed. Her eyes, filled with panic, met Curry's. "What happened? Is she okay?" "She's fine now, ma'am. Just weak from—" Curry hesitated, not wanting to cause more pain. "From not eating," completed Kiara, silent tears running down her face, marked by suffering. "I knew something was wrong. She said she had already eaten at school, but the oatmeal cups never decreased." Her voice failed, the weight of guilt evident in every syllable. Destiny woke up to the sound of her mother's voice. "I didn't want to worry you," she said, trying to smile. "The medicines are expensive, and the government money only arrives next week." Kiara held her daughter's hand, unable to contain her crying. "Never again, Destiny. We will never go through this again." Curry observed the scene, fighting against his own emotions. "Mrs. Johnson, may I speak with you for a moment?" In the hallway, away from Destiny's ears, Kiara revealed the full extent of the situation. The father's disappearance a year ago, the devastating diagnosis, the loss of her job as an administrative assistant, the government benefits that barely covered the rent for the tiny apartment in a dangerous area, the electricity cut off, the water about to be disconnected. "I'm not asking for anything," emphasized Kiara, pride evident in her posture, even in the improvised chair. "We've always managed. It's just that this month was particularly difficult." Curry thought of all the times he had spent, more on a dinner than this family had to live on for an entire month. The extravagant parties, luxury cars, houses. The contrast was too painful to ignore. "Mrs. Johnson, I believe there are moments in life when we are placed exactly where we need to be," he finally said. "This isn't about charity. It's about community. It's about what we do for each other." The return to Destiny's apartment revealed an even harsher reality than Curry had imagined. Located on the third floor of a building, without an elevator, the tiny space was clean but showed evident signs of deterioration. Water stains marked the ceiling, and the smell of mold was unmistakable. The refrigerator, when opened, contained only half an onion and a jar of mustard. While Kiara rested, Destiny showed Curry her special corner, a small space under the window where she kept her treasures. Notebooks with hand-drawn basketball plays, newspaper clippings about the Warriors, and colorful drawings showing her and Curry playing basketball together. One drawing in particular caught the players' attention. It showed Curry with a superhero cape, delivering baskets of food to people in need. "Is this me?" he asked, holding the paper carefully. Destiny nodded, embarrassed. "I imagined what it would be like if you knew there were children like me. Would you help just like you do with the food baskets that appear on TV?" The emotional blow was almost physical. There, in a child's drawing, was the truth Curry tried to ignore: the distance between camera charity and the real impact on people's lives. That night, after providing enough food for weeks and ensuring that mother and daughter were comfortable, Curry sat in his luxury car and made a series of calls. To his wife, Isha, explaining that he would be involved in something important. To his foundation, requesting immediate mobilization. To his agent, canceling commitments for the next few days. To the team manager, requesting an urgent meeting. At 2 in the morning, he returned to the apartment to make sure everything was okay. From the window, he saw Destiny sleeping next to her mother in the small twin bed, their hands firmly intertwined even during sleep. A silent tear ran down the athlete's face as he whispered to the night wind, "This cannot continue. Not while I can do something about it." The alarm went off at 6:30 as always, but something was different that morning. Destiny smelled it before even opening her eyes. Eggs, toast, something sweet. Aromas that hadn't visited that apartment in a long time. "Mom," she called, getting up quickly. Instead of Kiara's voice, she heard an unfamiliar female laugh coming from the kitchen. Scared, she ran to see what was happening. A middle-aged woman with a warm smile was in the tiny kitchen, preparing what appeared to be a complete breakfast. Beside her, helping with the dishes, was another younger woman. "Good morning, Sunshine," said the first woman. "I'm Gloria, and this is Tamika. Mr. Curry sent us to help you and your mother for a while." Destiny was paralyzed, unable to process what was happening. In the living room, where there had been only the worn-out sofa, there was now a proper hospital bed, with Kiara sleeping comfortably under new sheets. "What? How?" she stammered. Tamika approached, gently leading Destiny to the kitchen table where a plate of pancakes, eggs, and fresh fruit awaited her. "Eat first, dear. Then we'll talk." During breakfast, Destiny discovered that Gloria was a nurse specialized in patients with multiple sclerosis, and Tamika, a social worker. Both had been hired by Curry's foundation to ensure appropriate care for Kiara and support for the family. But the surprises were just beginning. Upon returning from school that day, a moving truck was waiting in front of the building. "What's happening?" asked Destiny, confused. Kiara, sitting in a proper wheelchair for the first time since her condition worsened, held her daughter's hand. Her eyes shone in a way Destiny hadn't seen in a long time. "We're moving, dear, to a place with access ramps where I'll be able to move better." The new apartment was only 10 minutes away, still in the same school district, but the difference was like night and day. Fully adapted for accessibility, with support bars, wide doors for the wheelchair, and most importantly, on the ground floor, with a small outdoor area where Kiara could get some sun. "But how will we pay for this?" asked Destiny, worry never far from her thoughts. "The rent is guaranteed for 2 years," explained Tamika. "Enough time to establish a permanent plan for you. And there's more. Your mother has been accepted into an experimental treatment program that can significantly delay the progression of the disease." Destiny looked around, expecting to see Steph Curry appear at any moment. Instead, she found a letter addressed to her on the new kitchen table. "Destiny, some people come into our lives for just a moment but change our trajectory forever. You are one of those people for me. Everything that's happening is not charity. It's recognition of your courage and love for your mother. It's what we do for each other when we see beyond appearances. I won't be personally present in the coming days. This is your story, not mine. The world doesn't need to know where the help came from. Only that you and your mother deserve all possible support. Keep drawing basketball plays. Maybe one day we can train together. Your friend, Steph." Silent tears ran down Destiny's face as she read and reread each word. In the following week, life transformed in ways she could never have imagined. In the new apartment, they discovered a refrigerator and cabinets completely stocked. A nutritionist visited them to teach simple recipes that Destiny could safely prepare. An adapted van appeared to take Kiara to physical therapy sessions and medical appointments. At school, the changes were even more subtle but equally profound. A free breakfast and lunch program was implemented for all students, eliminating the stigma of who needed food assistance. Destiny noticed other children who, like her, seemed more attentive and energetic now that they were eating properly. One day, during recess, she saw a smaller girl putting half of her sandwich in her backpack. Recognizing the pattern, she approached. "Is that for someone at home?" she asked gently. The girl, startled, nodded with suspicion. "If you want, I can show you how to get extra food without having to hide," offered Destiny. "And it's not wrong to ask for help. I learned that recently." At home, Kiara was beginning to show the first signs of improvement with the new treatment. She could hold a cup without tremors for a few seconds, a small victory for the world, but monumental for mother and daughter. "Today I did something you would do," Destiny told her during dinner. "I helped a girl who was going through the same thing we did." Kiara smiled, her eyes watery. "I'm so proud of you. Did you know I received a visitor yesterday while you were at school?" "Who?" asked Destiny. "Steph Curry. He comes almost every day when you're in class. He sits here and we talk about you, about basketball, about life. He told me he's organizing a program in all the schools in the region." Destiny's jaw dropped. "He comes here? And I never see him?" "He doesn't want this to become a media circus," explained Kiara. "He said that would diminish the real impact of what's being built. And you know what else he said? That you inspired him to review all of his foundation's initiatives. That numbers and photos mean nothing if they're not really improving lives." That night, in a game broadcast live, Destiny noticed something different about Curry's shoes. Instead of the usual logo, there was a small drawing, a yellow star, identical to the one she always included in the corners of her drawings. The message was clear, even if no one else could understand it. He had seen, he had noticed, and most importantly, he had acted. 6 months passed like a dream from which Destiny feared waking up. The harsh winter gave way to a vibrant spring, reflecting the transformations in her life. In the physical therapy room at Oakland Medical Center, Kiara Johnson took careful steps between parallel bars, her face tense with concentration. "That's right, Mrs. Johnson. 2 more steps," encouraged the physical therapist. Destiny watched, holding her breath with each movement. The experimental program was producing extraordinary results. Not a cure, the doctors had made that clear, but a significant improvement in quality of life and autonomy. "I'm doing it, daughter," exclaimed Kiara, her face illuminated by a joy she hadn't shown in a long time. "I'm walking." On the way home, the adapted van stopped in front of a renovated commercial building. A discreet sign at the entrance said, "East Star Community Center." "What are we doing here?" asked Destiny, confused. Kiara, sitting in a proper wheelchair for the first time since her condition worsened, held her daughter's hand. Her eyes shone in a way Destiny hadn't seen in a long time. "I have a surprise for you, dear." Inside the building, several people were working at computers in a spacious and welcoming area. Kiara was greeted with hugs and familiar smiles. "This is my daughter, Destiny," she introduced her with pride. "Destiny, this is my new workplace." The girl looked confusedly at her mother. "Workplace? 3 times a week, when you're at school. I'm coordinating a support program for families with chronic illnesses," explained Kiara. "Remote work, with flexible hours that respect my condition. Isn't it wonderful? I'm contributing again." Destiny couldn't contain her tears. Seeing her mother recovering not only her health, but also her dignity and purpose, was more than she had ever dared to dream. At school, Destiny now led the Helpers Club, a group of children who identified vulnerable classmates and mobilized resources to support them discreetly. What had begun as an improvised initiative had become a model program, with adults supervising and ensuring that no child went without necessities. On a Thursday afternoon, the principal called Destiny to her office. With her heart racing, fearing she had done something wrong, she entered timidly. "Destiny? I have very special news," said the principal with a smile. "You've been selected for a full scholarship that will cover all your studies until university." "Me? How? Why?" she asked, stunned. "The selection committee was impressed with your story of resilience and your initiative in helping other students. This scholarship is part of the new Tomorrow's Hope program." What the principal didn't mention, and what Destiny would discover years later, was that the program had been entirely funded by Steph Curry, with the explicit condition of anonymity. That same day, upon arriving home, Destiny found an official envelope from the Golden State Warriors. Inside, 2 VIP tickets to the decisive playoff game and a small handwritten note. "To the girl who taught me the true meaning of courage, bring your mother." SC30. Oracle Arena was a sea of blue and yellow when Destiny and Kiara were escorted to seats in the first row. Kiara's wheelchair, now rarely used, had been brought only to avoid long walks. "I can't believe we're here," whispered Destiny, amazed at their proximity to the court. Minutes before the game started, an assistant approached. "Miss Johnson? Mr. Curry asked me to accompany you." Confused, Destiny followed the man to a side corridor, where Steph Curry, already in uniform for the game, waited with a package in his hands. "Hey, champion," he greeted her with a warm hug. "Ready for the big day?" "Me? You're the one who's going to play," she replied, laughing nervously. "We're playing together today," he said, handing her the package. "Open it." Inside was an official Warriors jersey with the name Destiny and number 30, the same as Curry's. With it, a pair of shoes identical to those he would wear in the game. "Look at the back," he instructed. Destiny turned the shoes over and saw an inscription in gold. "For all the invisible children, may no one ever go hungry in silence again. Today, I play for you and for the 278 families who now receive support through the program you inspired," explained Curry. "No one knows their names, no one sees their daily struggles, but they are all important. They all deserve a chance." Destiny could barely speak. In 6 months, her life had transformed in unimaginable ways, and now she discovered she wasn't the only one. Hundreds of other families were receiving the same silent support. During the warm-up, Curry invited Destiny to shoot some balls with him, fulfilling a dream she didn't even know could become reality. The cameras focused on the small girl who, with each surprising precision, made 3 consecutive shots to deafening applause from the crowd. The Warriors won by a comfortable margin, with Curry scoring 43 points, his best performance of the season. In the post-game interview, when asked what had motivated his extraordinary performance, he looked directly at the camera. "Today, I played for someone very special who taught me that true champions are those who never give up, even with an empty stomach and a full heart, who fight not just for themselves, but for everyone around them." The camera found Destiny in the stands, next to Kiara. Mother and daughter, holding hands, smiled shyly at the millions of viewers who didn't know their complete story, and didn't need to know. That night, back in the cozy apartment they now called home, Destiny found one last gift on her bed. A leather-bound journal with a message on the first page. "Destiny, your name wasn't given by chance. You are destined for great things, not because you met a basketball player, but because you had courage when many adults would have given up. Because you took care of your mother when you yourself needed care. Because you saw beyond your own pain. This journal is for you to record your dreams. All of them, no matter how impossible they seem. And when you finish filling it, I'll be waiting to help make them come true. Not because you need me, but because the world needs people like you. With admiration, your friend, Steph. Destiny hugged the journal to her chest and looked out the window at the starry sky. For the first time in her short life, she felt no hunger, no fear, no despair. Only gratitude and a deep certainty that, even in the most unlikely places, flowers can grow in the asphalt. And it all began with 7 simple words spoken at the right time. I haven't eaten in 3 days, saved for my mother.